We offered Francis a deal that would have made him the highest paid heavyweight in the history of the company. More than Lesnar, more than anybody. And he turned the deal down. I think Francis is in a place right now where he doesn't want to take a lot of risk.
This is a flat-out lie by UFC President Dana White.
I mean, so we are supposedly an independent contractor. Independent contractor technically is a free person.
Sure. But you know how it is,
So
right? The contracts are very restrictive, right? You can't go box. You can't do this.
And that's the reason why they need some adjustment in that contract. That's what I've been fighting for.
The greatest heavyweight in UFC history is putting y'all on game. His words follow a pattern and history the UFC has gone down, however.
He doesn't want to take a lot of risk. Feels like he's in a good position where he could fight lesser opponents and make more money.
Dana will always be the PR man for the UFC and Endeavor. He obviously wears many hats, but think of him as a press secretary who meets the media. They will never, ever say a bad word on behalf of the administration and will do everything in their power to levy blame while propping up their side.
So, we can't continue to hold up the division and not come to an agreement with this guy. We did everything we could.
Again, false words from a man who will defend his company until the day he dies, especially when they had his back and kept him on payroll after he grabbed his wife's wrist on New Year's Eve and struck her twice in the face in Cabo San Lucas, Mexico. What's important here is context, which Francis Ngannou goes over with Ariel Helwani.
What is it that's really bugging you about what they're offering and what maybe they're not offering?
The term of the contract, everything that they put into, they hold you like in captivity, like you can't do anything, you have no right. The contract is one-sided. Although you still don't have nothing, you don't even have a health insurance while you're doing this, putting your body on the line to put on the show, risking everything. There's a lot of things, man. We have no insurance, nothing. Like no guarantee.
This was Ngannou 1 year ago, spilling the tea on the UFC.
He's got it in his head that there's bigger opportunities outside the UFC with, lesser opponents.
To trash the greatest heavyweight in the history of the sport on the way out because Ngannou stood by his beliefs. Let's go over this whole "he's afraid to fight" line because it is BS. And Dana White knows it. In 2021, White claimed Robert Whittaker did not want to fight Izzy Adesanya, telling ESPN's Brett Okamoto that it was wacky. When Whittaker made it known all along he did want to fight Adesanya. Whittaker's quote is first, followed by White's in the second paragraph. There was also White's debacle with calling out Rose Namajunas, saying she did not want to fight the best. This led to Namajunas doing an interview with Ariel Helwani to clear the air, saying contrary to White's claim, she in fact did. In 2020, John Jones and Jorge Masvidal publicly spoke up about their unhappiness with the UFC's pay structure. Instead of addressing compensation, White told the media the two fighters, who he said were independent contractors, did not want to fight. When Dustin Poirier and Tony Ferguson tried setting up a fight, White proclaimed, listen, I like Dustin. I'm not going to sit up here and say anything negative about Dustin. He's a great kid. I don't know if it was he didn't want to fight in Abu Dhabi or what his deal was. He didn't want to fight. After Chris Cyborg's loss to Amanda Nunes, White used the same trope he did previously with other fighters. She doesn't want to fight and she's afraid to lose again. The same stuff we just heard from White out of his mouth when he was talking about Francis Ngannou. Cyborg fought out her UFC contract in July 2019 and later signed with Bellator. Cyborg said she wanted the Nunes rematch, but she didn't want to have to sign a new contract to get the rematch. The list goes on and on and on. And Bloody Elbows Trent Reinsmith put together a laundry list of examples which everyone should go look at because it is endless. On that front, some of the best reactions I saw and that I agree with are as follows. Greg Maynard, who fought in the UFC, wrote on Twitter, "You want more pay, scared to fight. Want a better contract, scared to fight. Want to test free agency, scared to fight. Shut up and take whatever they give you, loves to fight. Scary matchup for anyone." Shaheen Al-Shadi, deputy editor of MMA Fighting, recap where the UFC is currently at. Since September, the UFC has lost its biggest free agent ever, lost its heavyweight champ, seen its president strike a woman multiple times on camera, became embroiled in an FBI investigation into gambling, suspend an entire gym, and get beat on the John Jones news by a billboard. MMA media man Jonathan Snowden would reflect, arguably the best fighter in UFC history, John Jones, sat out for almost 3 years over pay. Multiple champions have attempted to leave. The biggest star in UFC history refused to fight until he could do a celebrity boxing match to make his fortune. The sport is a joke. Lastly, from Shaheen, once more, let's be clear, because this is going to happen. It's already started. Francis Ngannou, the man who demolished Stipe Miocic, beat half of the next title fight on one leg, and spent 2 years begging to fight John Jones, did not leave UFC because he was scared of competition. Don't fall for it. We end with this. Dana White in that seat is the politician protecting his donors, that being the Ultimate Fighting Championship and Endeavor. And he protects the brand by crapping on the fighters routinely. Yet it is those same fighters that put everything at risk for White and company to profit, period.